Look at this picture. What do you see? A beautiful, untouched beach, right? A vacation paradise. You probably think this kind of military movement thousands of miles away has absolutely no bearing on your life. You believe that what happens on a remote bay in the Philippines is just another distant headline, something for the news cycle to chew on, far removed from your job, your family, your finances. You've been told that these are just exercises, routine training that poses no threat to you. If you're interested in this topic, hit the like button, subscribe, and type interested in the comments, and I will give you a heart. But what if everything you believe about peace, global stability, and your own financial security is about to be utterly upended by a single unexpected event? What if the serene image of this beach hides a secret so profound, so strategic, that its unexpected transformation from tourist haven to military staging ground directly impacts the cost of your groceries, the availability of your electronics, and even the safety of global travel? Because the latest news is this: U.S. Marines offload military vehicles on Casiguran Bay in a move that blindsided not just Beijing, but even parts of the Philippine government. And this wasn't just any beach. This wasn't just any offloading. This was a calculated, high-stakes maneuver designed to send an unmistakable message, a message that China completely missed, and you need to understand why. For years, China has been aggressively pushing its claims in the South China Sea, acting as if it owns the most vital shipping lanes on the planet. They believe they can choke off global trade, isolate Taiwan, and dominate the Indo-Pacific. They believe their slow, steady, salami-slicing tactics are unstoppable, and until now, they've largely been right. But this one beach landing, in this one strategically critical bay, changes the entire equation. This isn't about starting a war, this is about preventing one. It's about securing the global supply chain that brings you everything you rely on, from the microchips in your phone to the oil that powers your car and the food on your table. It's about guaranteeing that the world remains free and open for trade, rather than being at the mercy of a single aggressive superpower. This seemingly small event is actually a giant move on the global chessboard, directly protecting your future from an economic catastrophe. Like this video if you believe in freedom of navigation and a stable global economy. Over the next 15 minutes, we're going to expose the hidden intelligence that led to this unprecedented landing. We will reveal exactly why Casiguran Bay is China's worst nightmare and the secret weapon the Philippines now holds. We'll show you how this move fundamentally alters the balance of power in Asia, and most importantly, how it directly safeguards your financial stability and the global economy. But first, there's a vital clue everyone missed about who knew about this operation. A detail so revealing, it tells us everything about the future of this conflict. We'll expose that in just a moment. To understand the shock of U.S. Marines offloading military vehicles on Casiguran Bay, we first need to understand the invisible chessboard that China has been playing on for decades. Their strategy has been clear: control the South China Sea. This isn't just about fish or a few islands, it's about strangling global trade. Imagine a bully in the schoolyard who slowly starts claiming every path to the lunchroom. First they stand in the way, then they demand a toll, eventually they own the entire route. That's what China has been doing with the most vital shipping lanes in the world. More than 1/3 of all global maritime trade, an astonishing $5.3 trillion 0 cents worth of goods annually, sails through these waters. From oil and gas that fuels global industries to the raw materials that build your electronics, nearly everything touches this region. If China gains full control, they can hold the world hostage. They could disrupt supply chains, dictate terms of trade, and cripple economies with a single aggressive act. This isn't a theoretical threat. It's an economic sword hanging over every nation, including yours. For years, China's strategy has been to slowly but surely chip away at the sovereignty of nations like the Philippines through gray zone tactics. This means actions that are aggressive but fall just short of outright war, making it difficult for the international community to respond decisively. They ram fishing boats, blast water cannons at supply vessels, and build artificial islands in contested waters. They're like a persistent silent predator, slowly tightening its grip. These tactics allowed them to expand their influence without triggering a major military conflict. But this strategy has a fatal flaw. It relies on its targets being isolated and without powerful allies. That's where the US Marines offloading military vehicles on Casiguran Bay becomes a game changer. This wasn't just about training. It was a clear demonstration of the ironclad alliance between the US and the Philippines. It's a signal to China that their gray zone tactics will now be met with a decisive, overwhelming show of force. The US is saying, your bullying stops here. You touch one, you touch all. This is about solidarity, about drawing a very clear line in the sand, or rather, on the beach. If you believe in standing up to bullies, hit that subscribe button right now. We'll keep bringing you the unfiltered truth about these global power struggles. Now, let's talk about Casiguran Bay itself. Most people have never heard of it. It's located on the eastern coast of Luzon, the Philippines' largest island. Why is this remote, picturesque bay so strategically vital? It comes down to one word: Taiwan. China's long-term ambition to reunify Taiwan, by force if necessary, is no secret. A successful invasion would require China to control the Luzon Strait, the narrow passage between Taiwan. This strait is like a choke point, a crucial maritime gateway that any invading force would have to cross. For years, military analysts assumed any US or allied defense of Taiwan would primarily involve naval and air forces from the Pacific. But the US Marines offloading military vehicles on Casiguran Bay fundamentally changes that calculus. Casiguran Bay offers deep water access, allowing large military vessels to get close to shore. More importantly, it provides a vital staging ground that can control the eastern approaches to the Luzon Strait. This means that if China ever tried to launch an invasion, forces from Casiguran could effectively block their escape routes or disrupt their supply lines, boxing them in. It's like building a hidden fortress on the edge of a critical highway that your enemy plans to use. They thought they had the route mapped out, but now a powerful, unexpected obstacle has appeared. This unexpected move creates a massive strategic headache for Beijing. It forces them to rethink their entire invasion playbook, knowing that a powerful US and Philippine presence could turn the Luzon Strait into a deadly trap. But here's where things get even more interesting. Not everyone in the Philippines was happy about this sudden military presence. In fact, many local officials were surprised and even outraged. Why? What hidden tensions did this beach landing expose within the US-Philippine alliance itself? And how did China try to exploit this internal division? That's what we'll uncover next. The headlines screamed, "Philippines surprised as US Marines offload military vehicles on Casiguran Bay Beach." While the US Department of Defense and the Philippine Department of National Defense were well aware, the local government in Aurora Province, where Casiguran Bay is located, was caught completely off guard. Local officials expressed frustration, saying they were not properly informed and that the military exercises disrupted local life. This communication breakdown created a massive opportunity for China. Beijing's strategy has always been to exploit any perceived weakness or division within the Philippines. They immediately launched a massive propaganda campaign, amplifying the voices of disgruntled local officials. Chinese state media and social media trolls flooded the internet with narratives accusing the US of disrespecting Philippine sovereignty, of militarizing peaceful regions, and turning the Philippines into an American pawn. They painted the US presence as an invasion rather than an alliance. The goal was simple: turn the Filipino people against their American allies and undermine the alliance from within. This is a classic tactic. When you can't win on the battlefield, you try to win in the minds of the people. They wanted to create a rift, to make the Filipino people believe that the US was a greater threat than China's daily aggression in the South China Sea. They tried to sow doubt, fear, and resentment, turning a strategic defense against Chinese expansion into a domestic political issue. But China's propaganda efforts failed spectacularly. Why? Because the Filipino people are smarter, more resilient, and more united than Beijing gives them credit for. While there were initial concerns, the national government quickly stepped in to clarify the situation, emphasizing the importance of joint exercises for national security. They highlighted that these drills, including the US Marines offloading military vehicles on Casiguran Bay, are crucial for the Philippines to develop its own defense capabilities and protect its sovereign territory from actual threats. If you believe that transparent leadership is key, show your support by hitting the like button on this video. This internal debate, far from weakening the alliance, ultimately strengthened it. It forced both the US and the Philippines to address communication issues and underscore the importance of public support. The latest news shows a growing understanding among the Filipino people that a strong alliance with the US is essential for their national security and economic future. They realize that while a few days of military exercises might be an inconvenience, a future dominated by China's aggression would be a permanent disaster. The lesson here is profound. Transparency, even when inconvenient, builds trust. And trust is the bedrock of any strong alliance. China's attempt to exploit internal divisions backfired because the strategic imperative, defending the Philippines' territorial integrity and vital trade routes, ultimately resonated more deeply with the Filipino people. They understood that these exercises weren't about the US taking over, but about the US standing with them. But here's the really chilling part. This beach landing in Casiguran Bay isn't just about deterring a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. It's about something far more immediate and terrifying. A new unprecedented Chinese tactic has emerged in the South China Sea, a tactic that directly threatens global food security and your family's dinner table. And Casiguran Bay holds the key to countering it. We'll expose this terrifying new threat and the ingenious solution next. We've talked about deterring an invasion and countering propaganda, but the US Marines offloading military vehicles on Casiguran Bay has a third, equally critical purpose that directly impacts your daily life: countering a terrifying new Chinese tactic that threatens global food security. China isn't just building military outposts. They're systematically destroying the marine environment and overfishing the South China Sea. They've deployed massive fishing fleets, often subsidized by the state, that literally strip the oceans bare. They use environmentally destructive methods like giant trawlers and even harvesting endangered species. This isn't just about fishing, it's a deliberate strategy by depleting fish stocks in international waters. And within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, they are not only depriving other nations of vital food sources, but also establishing de facto control over the entire region's resources. They are using their fishing fleets as a maritime militia, enforcing their claims and pushing out legitimate fishermen from the Philippines and other nations. This is leading to what some analysts are calling ocean starvation, a crisis that will inevitably drive up seafood prices globally and impact food supply chains for millions. Imagine a neighborhood where one family systematically poisons the shared garden, then harvests all the food while intimidating anyone else who tries to plant a seed. That's what China's doing to the South China Sea. This strategy not only asserts control, but also creates a dependency, starving other nations of resources they need to survive. This is an ecological disaster with global economic consequences. This is where US Marines offloading military vehicles on Casiguran Bay becomes not just a military move, but an environmental and economic lifeline. Casiguran Bay's strategic location on the eastern coast allows for rapid deployment of forces to monitor, deter, and potentially intercept these illegal fishing fleets. It provides a platform for joint US-Philippine maritime patrols to protect fishing grounds, enforce environmental laws, and prevent the continued plunder of the ocean's resources. The presence of powerful military assets means that the Philippines can finally push back against this ocean starvation strategy, protecting its own food supply and by extension contributing to global food security. This issue is huge and we're just scratching the surface. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss our upcoming deep dives into global food security. This is the unseen shield. Casiguran Bay isn't just a base for troops. It's a potential sanctuary for marine life and a launching pad for a counteroffensive against environmental destruction. It's a powerful symbol that the world is finally saying no to China's unchecked exploitation of shared global resources. This move helps the Philippines protect not just its borders, but its very livelihood and the future of its ocean. This is the new front line, not just protecting land, but protecting the lifeblood of the oceans. But there's one final profound layer to this story, a transformation so significant that it redefines the Philippines on the world stage. It's about how this single beach landing has ignited a new sense of pride, purpose, and power among the Filipino people, making them a beacon of hope against global aggression. This isn't just a military story, it's a story of a nation finding its soul, and it directly impacts how the world views America's commitment to freedom. That powerful climax is next. The story of US Marines offloading military vehicles on Casiguran Bay isn't just about military strategy or economic interests. It's about a nation, The Philippines, standing tall and strong, empowered by its alliances and reclaiming its destiny. For years, the Filipino people have faced constant intimidation and aggression in their own backyard, but this bold, strategic move by the US executed in such a pride and resolve, this is the transformation. The Philippines is no longer seen as a small nation vulnerable to a powerful neighbor. It is now a crucial strategic pivot point, a formidable ally, and a symbol of resistance against unchecked ambition. The world sees the Filipino people not as victims, but as heroes on the front lines of freedom. Their courage, combined with unwavering support from allies, has created an unbreakable spirit that China cannot defeat. This isn't just about military might. It's about moral authority. It's about proving that the rule of law, international norms, and the sovereignty of nations still matter in a world where some try to rewrite the rules. This moment in Casiguran Bay is a testament to what can be achieved when nations stand together. It's a clear message to any aspiring hegemon. Your aggression will be met with unwavering resolve. This ensures global stability, protects vital trade routes, and ultimately safeguards your freedom and economic future. This is a complex story with many interconnected parts. To truly understand the full scope of China's grand strategy and the surprising ways other Asian nations are fighting back, you need to watch our next video. Why China can't stop the world from investing in Philippines' hidden oil and gas. Click the video on your screen right now. If you stayed with us through this entire deep dive, it means you care about the truth and the future of our world. Thank you. Your engagement is what keeps us going. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with anyone who needs to hear this story. And please, make sure to watch that next video. Stay informed, stay empowered, and never stop questioning the narratives. We'll see you there.